welcome to another Bendigo IPTV catch-up with Councillor Elise Chapman. Welcome, Elise.
Yeah, thank you.
We've had a look at the most recent council meeting, Elise, and your take on some of the issues that come out of that. And I guess some of the passion you showed around your commitment to waste management and the vision you had for that sort of thing when you put your hand up for council. And I just thought, given it's been an experience as a first-time councillor, you're coming up to elections in October. Before we get to that though, I'd be intrigued to know how you found the experience. Has it been, like, you've been in the media a hell of a lot for a councillor. A lot of councillors wouldn't get 10% of what you've had in terms of exposure and coverage.
It wasn't wanted. I was going to tell you, it wasn't me that initiated it.
Well, that's what I'm interested to know. How's the experience been for you? Has it been daunting? Has it been challenging? Has it been rewarding? How would you best describe to other people?
Probably been all of those things at times. It's probably been, you know, sometimes it is rewarding, sometimes you just sort of think, what am I doing? Why did I even bother to do this? You know, why did I put myself up for this?
And what is it, a 60-40 thing or 80-20, 50-50? Or
look, sometimes it's, you know, it's hard. I had a baptism of fire, if you like. You know, my first meeting, I think, was about the Golden Square pool.
That must seem a lifetime ago now.
Oh, that nearly gave me a stroke. Here I am, a first-time councillor, and you know, I was told, you know, these pools are terrible and they've got to be demolished and they're no good and they had to barely hold water and so on. And I said, well, I turned to my attachments and I said, well, you know, where are the objections? Surely, people at Golden Square in my ward, they would object to the pool being closed. And I was told, oh no, there's no objections. And I sort of thought, well, that either means one of two things. Either there is no objections or the people don't care. And so, of course, that was a unanimous vote by all councillors to close the Long Gully and the Golden Square pool and demolish. The next day, my phone started ringing, you know, what have you done? What have you done? I said, what do you mean, what have I done? And they said, well, nobody told us about it. I said, yeah, see, you were consulted. No, we weren't. And so from then on,
there was your first battle.
On. Yeah, I'm going to fight for my community.
When you look back on the 3.5 years, what are the things that you're most proud of? And that's one of them, what you did with the Golden Square pool.
Well, you know, that journey, geez, you could write a movie about how that happened. You know, that was a 6 months, that nearly gave me a stroke. You know, seriously, there were times there I thought, what the hell, you know, maybe I should just quit. And Ken Hamilton, who was really, you know, behind the Golden Square pool, he's a wonderful man. And I guess we gave each other the strength to carry on. The Golden Square people really championed that cause, and you know, I was able to disprove just about everything that council ever said about it. They had quotes of 200,000 to $1 million to fix it. In the end, I was standing at the traffic lights, you know, shaking the tin, trying to raise money, and I was at the barbecues, I was at the working bees. We raised $17,000. 4,000 of that we used to train our lifeguards, and with the working bees and everything else, we got that entire pool up to scratch. And I would challenge anybody to find a better run pool with half the shade that we have there. It is the best place. If you haven't been to the Golden Square pool, you've really missed out. It's an awesome. It's a facility unlike any other in Bendigo, and it's absolutely magnificent. It's wonderful, and all run by volunteers. I think there's about 57 of us. I do every second Saturday in the canteen for a few hours, all volunteer work throughout the community. So Golden Square really championed that, but you know, it was a long time to get it to where initially there was a unanimous vote against it. By the time I had challenged everything, collected my evidence and proven, it took 4 or 5 votes. It was, even my own ward members voted it down for, you know, 4 or 5 times. On the last vote, was a do or die vote, really. I had evidence to refute absolutely everything, and it was undeniable. They just could no longer deny it. And eventually it was a unanimous yes. So that was a massive, and that took 6 months. And I guess, you know, people say, well, you probably upset the establishment. You know, that wasn't how things usually go around Bendigo. It was unprecedented. So I had a baptism of fire.
You certainly did. You mentioned drawing on Ken Hamilton and him drawing on you. I don't know Ken for the strength to get through, you know, a tough one like that, particularly as a young councillor that was, you know, new to the job. Where do you draw your strength from? Because the Moss thing might have taken it out of you. You're a mum with a couple of kids as well, living in a community that, look, we talk about the best city outside Melbourne, and I agree with that, you know, every time. but it's still a big regional town in a lot of ways. Everyone knows everyone. How have you coped with all that? I mean, with the fallout and the flack and people calling you a racist and all this sort of thing, has that taken a personal toll on you?
Well,
Or you're able to
majority of
divorce
stuff that
from
you've
it?
seen in the media hasn't even been true, and I guess a lot of people don't know that I took the advertiser to the Press Council on a number of their stories, and the advertiser was found guilty. A lot of things that have been in the paper are just completely untrue. Yes, I've been called a racist. What a lot of people don't know is I have an Indigenous sister that I was raised with. My best mate is a Greek, a full-on Greek. My father is 93 and unwell, my stepfather, and he's Indonesian. My son is half Welsh. I have a huge respect for our Indigenous community, our forefathers, and there's just so much. I do pay my respects to our elders and so on and so forth, the traditional owners. Huge amount of respect there for that. I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist at all. I love everybody equally. I don't care what colour you are. Take your skin off. We all bleed the same.
Exactly.
But I know that I've been made out to be that way.
And does that hurt, or are you thick-skinned enough to sort of see it and say, "Oh, that's not me. They don't know me"? How do you react to it?
Honestly, I'm just going to call it as it is because that's what I do. I think people have called me a racist because I'm not a fan of Islam, and I'm just going to say it as it is. Islam isn't a race. No, I don't agree with many things in Islam. I don't agree with the inequality. I could sit here and list them all, but that doesn't make me a racist just because I don't agree with an ideology. Then that's not a race, and I couldn't think of anything more ridiculous, actually.
As I said, we're in a big country town in a way, much in all ways you'd love to sound like we're a metropolis. We're probably growing towards that, but in a big country area like this, how has your family been affected as well, or have you, like in terms of drawing strength and support? You mentioned earlier in the conversation, Elise, about feeling sometimes, gee, is it all worth it, like over the pool thing?
I don't have a family here, really. My brother's in the Navy, been there 20-odd years. Extremely proud of my only brother. He's been out on pirate patrol, and he puts his life on the line, every other day for this country. So I'm very, very proud of him.
And rightly so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have. I'm a single mum with 2 kids, running a farm as well. Hasn't been easy.
How close have you come to pulling the pin?
Oh, numerous times. There have been a lot of times where it's not just the media that I think's been, had this. Put out things that are not true about me. It's also within the establishment as well, within council. There's been a press releases by council. There's been a whole lot of things that have happened that people aren't aware of.
That have been difficult to contend with,
Oh, absolutely. It's taken a massive toll.
What happens when you walk down the street, Elise? Because you have people in a ward, constituents, or even walking down here, the CBD. Do people come up and talk to you about footpaths, or do they come up and say you're an idiot, or do they come up and say, I support you 100%? What do you get?
Well, good question. I've never, ever had anybody come up to me and abuse me or say anything negative to me.
That would surprise a lot of people. At least that you walk down the street and you've never had anyone come up.
Never. But what I do is when I go to the supermarket, obviously once a week or so, I've had numerous people come approach me in the supermarket. It takes me twice as long pretty much to do the shopping as I used to. And people just pat me on the... First of all, they say, are you Elise Chapman? And I say yes, because most of the time I go to the supermarket, sometimes I wear a beanie and I try to get in and out as quickly as I can. I think no one will recognise me, but they do.
There's no getting away.
Yeah, I just can't keep... Yeah, absolutely.
But you're finding it mostly supportive, though?
Absolutely. And the majority of them... And I just want to make this point too. The majority of people that approach me and say, pat me on the back and say, well done, a lot of them say to me, Elise, I've got a business in town, or as other people say, I get a grant, or I'm a part of a particular group. And I feel that I can't express how I really feel. And so I just want you to personally know that I back you and I support you. And everywhere I go, I get that. And I find that to be just so sad, that people can't, they're in fear of retribution of, say, council, or for the community, or for whoever else, to really voice their opinion and say what they really think, what they truly think. And I guess that's what I've been. I'm a straight shooter. I call it as it is.
No one's going to argue with that.
And people either respect the honesty, or some people, believe it or not, can't handle the truth.
Is there enough reward in it for you to put your hand up again?
Oh, that's a big question. I've had numerous people emailing me, calling me, demanding. I even had people wanting to start a petition for me to make sure that I re-stand. I'd have to give that some serious consideration, knowing what I know and knowing what I've already endured and knowing how hard it is. There would be I would if there were a few things that I could be assured of, but you can never be assured of anything. So, everything's a gamble. So, it's something I guess I'll have a think about, and I know there's not that long to think about it, but it's not a definite yes. I'm proud of what I've achieved. Over these 4 years, as difficult as they've been and as rewarding as some things have been, I believe that, I think I've moved more motions for the public. I raised the ICE issue that we have, the synthetic marijuana issues that we had at the time. I've raised the capital works. We've had seminars on capital works so that people could get an understanding of how that all happened. I came up with the concepts for to use the Coliban thing as well. There's been so many different motions that I've put forward that have benefited the community that I have done on my own bat, and I think I've done so many more than any other councillor. In fact, I think there's some councillors that over the last 4 years probably haven't done any, may not have done any at all.
If somebody
I've worked hard for my community. I've fought hard for my community. I guess, I get calls not just from my own ward every week. I get calls from everybody else's wards as well, and they say, Councillor Chapman, oh, thank you. Oh, first of all, I can't believe you answered the phones so quickly.
That would be a surprise.
and I say, yes, thank you, and get all the details. And then they say, oh, I need you to come and have a look at such and such. I say, well, what's your address? And they say, and I say, well, actually, that's not in my ward. Perhaps, you might like to speak to your ward members. Oh, no, they say, we need you to come and we need you to do it. And so I guess, I may have made a bit of a rod for my own back in as much as I have championed some big causes and been, fairly successful in doing so. But I do enjoy helping my community. That's why I did it. Like, no one would do this for the money. What you need to know is that councillors get less than 30,000 a year.
And it's almost a full-time job, depending on long hours.
Yeah. And look at what you cop. If you say the truth and if you are outspoken and if you do fight for your community, look at what happens to you. You're really putting yourself out there for people to judge you and whatever else simply by things they hear in the media.
Would you do it again with the benefit of hindsight? I said to you earlier, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But
I'm not sure. That's hard to answer. But throughout it all, I have successfully completed my 3-year diploma of local government.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the only female councillor in Bendigo to ever do so.
Gee.
There was a number of us start. There was all female councillors in Bendigo started it, but I was the only one to successfully finish it. I guess that's something that I'm proud of. I've made history for all the right reasons, if you like. There have been some personal rewarding things, but it certainly has taken a toll on my children. Elise in particular, she's copped a fair bit at school, as difficult as her life's already been. Without that, she's copped a fair bit there too, of people saying your mum's a racist, or your mum's this, or your mum's that.
That would be hard as a mum. Like, how do you handle that? Is it provide, I guess, an opportunity for a conversation?
Just turns around and says, well, you don't even know her. You don't even know her. My mum does lots for the Bendigo people.
She's sounding a bit feisty, and she may well be a councillor down the track.
She's one tough little girl after what she's endured, and that's a whole nother. I could speak for an hour or two on that, but she's the only one in the world with the issues that she has. She has a very rare genetic blood disorder, and which is
So she's got a lot on her plate anyway. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we used to. When she was 2. I spent 7 months with her on the cancer ward at the Royal Children's. I didn't come home for 7 months, and so that was a pretty difficult time. And we fought the the fight of our lives, if you like, and we won.
And it does change your life and your outlook on life, I think, too.
Well, it does.
Sort of
we shared a room with Krishna and Trishna too, the twins that were separated.
Oh, right.
And we watched that. I watched that procedure over the 7 months that we were there as well, and that was life changing. It was absolutely life changing, but. what a tough kid, you know, what a tough kid. She never once complained, and as far as injections, the hospital was saying to me, can we make a movie of her, because she never once complained. She just put her up. In fact, she used to try and help. She'd hold the cotton bud there ready, and I'd say to her, don't look. And she'd look, she just wouldn't turn away. She's one tough kid, and I guess, you know, she has endured. When we finally got out after the 7 months, for the first while, I had to take her back twice a week for transfusions, and they start in the dark and end in the dark, twice a week. She's now 9, so for 7 years. It's now out to every 3 weeks.
So it's still ongoing.
Oh, it'll be for the rest of her life. Absolutely. There is no cure.
I've got to ask you this, Elise, as we wrap up. We're sitting opposite the polling booth. I voted over there yesterday, and I'm springing this one on you, so you don't have to answer it either. With the federal election this weekend, everyone's going to be voting on Saturday. Do you have any regrets that you're not out there handing out One Nation how to vote cards, or is that sort of just gone, is in the past, and you've dealt with it and you've moved on?
Pauline and I are good friends and have been good friends for a long time. The reason that I chose was, at that particular time, I was fairly emotionally and physically fairly low from everything that I've endured at council from within. You know, I was pretty beat up, if you like, and
tank was on empty.
So no, I don't regret it. You know, I think there'll be other opportunities in another 4 years or so. Will be a lot older as well, and I know she likes handing out my cards and she likes everything else, but I've been there for her for the last 9 years.
And she's been there for you too.
Absolutely. And so...
And I get the feeling she will be, and you will be too.
Oh, look, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if she grows up to be a Prime Minister. I tell you what, you've got... If you think I'm a tough lady and I'm a straight shooter...
You ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing.
Elise, I can't thank you enough for being so candid, so open, and making yourself available. As I said, particularly when we've got a crop of people putting their hands up for, you know, what is a very responsible role as councillors coming up at the end of the year. So thank you so much for sharing your insights as a first-time councillor and a woman councillor as well. We've got all this talk about women in the workplace and, you know, go up the ladder. So to have first-hand at a council like yours, really appreciate you having taken the time today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. We'll look forward to giving you more information as we get past this federal election and lead up to the council elections, which I think are due on about the 22nd of October.